Welcome to 13 Ways Love Notes Can Be Used at Work, a talk I gave in the United Kingdom in the summer of 2018. Welcome to 13 Ways Love Notes Can Be Used at Work. So way number one is to set intentions. And the photos that you saw at the beginning were both from gatherings that were people from a variety of different workplaces gathered around a theme. So a conference setting, there was between 30 and 60 people in each of these gatherings. And love notes were set up as part of the welcome area and set towards the front of the room with a place for people to make a display. Notes were put out also on the different rounds at the conference tables with some pens. And I would go around at the beginning and invite people, why are you here? Will you set your intention? And some of the beauty of this is people are able to, without even already knowing each other, so in these settings some people knew each other, some people didn't, to see the commonality that they had with each other, either around the good that they wanted to do while they were there, or sometimes about the fear or anticipation that they have about what's to come. And this really helps with group bonding. The display being set at the front of the room for the duration of the training or conference, then different speakers can call out how they're meeting those intentions, or if some of those things haven't been addressed during the meeting, then they can be circled back to. And way number two is a gathering place at conferences. So the photos that you saw were examples at larger conferences. So this is like 800 to 22,000 people. So a space where you have lots of foot traffic, and in a central location, the love notes are set up as an altar. There's always an invitation of how to participate. Sometimes it's memorializing something or reminding ourselves why we do this work. And the love notes themselves become a whole piece that grows over the course of the conference. Because the love notes are in different languages, this can also be really amazing at international conferences to get interaction with all the different participants to feel included. And it's a widely photographed and shared piece of the conference experience that really brings people together. The third way love notes can be used at work is to memorialize a work transition. So the photos that you saw were an example of a retirement party. So a woman who had worked for 20 years within an organization in an administrative role, and where she interacted with people all over the larger organization. And one of her co-workers went to the effort to print and cut and distribute love notes around to the different departments and gather them from people. This was all done as a surprise in advance of her retirement party. And then at her retirement party, this display was installed, and we had more love notes sitting there for people who came to her retirement party. But even for the people who weren't able to attend the party, the love notes that her coworker had gathered were hanging up on the wall. And her coworker had gone to the effort to get a beautiful wood box off Amazon that the notes would fit in afterwards. So after her retirement party, these notes were taken down and given with her as she retired. But people can also use the love notes and transitions at work to welcome new people as people have changes in their families, or people get promotions, or they move to other companies, really to create ritual and to mark the transition. The fourth way love notes can be used at work as a note to self. So we're all working on things at work. We all have personal goals or work-related goals that we work to on a day-to-day basis. And writing those notes and placing them at our workstation or inside of a drawer where we can be reminded of our own intention or our own commitment to the work that we do can really be a powerful reminder of our why, of what it is that gets us out of bed each day, and the detail or the fine-tuning that we're working on bringing to the service that we do. The fifth way love notes can be used at work is to thank stakeholders. So these would be people who make contributions either in kind, through their emotional labor, through effort, through raising you up, and by raising up I mean lifting up, through making donations. And in fact, at Hive, we've taken the love note template, and Hive is the clinic where I work at San Francisco General Hospital, where we care for women living with HIV who are pregnant. We've actually taken the love note template and adapted it into a postcard with our Hive logo on the back that we can write to the many, many people who support the important work that we do. But using it as a quick and easy form of gratitude that's kind of beyond a formal email or, a tax ID letter that goes out with some sort of 501c3 donation, and really using that prompt to narrow in about why you're grateful to have this person as part of the people that help you do the work that you do. A sixth way Love Notes can be used at work is to bring stakeholders in. So this photo that you saw at the beginning of the video is probably one of my favorite stories ever of how the Love Notes have been used. And this is a Indigenous midwife birth center in Toronto. And they acquired a new space and what I believe is a new building in a neighborhood where they hadn't previously been serving people. And they had the ground floor of this building. And they both really wanted to ritualize or honor the fact that all these babies would be born in this new space. And they really wanted to do it in community. And so they got this cart, I think from IKEA or something like that, like a little kitchen cart, painted it and created it so you could install the Love Notes at the top. In the drawers were markers and Love Notes, and each morning they wheeled the cart out in front of the birthing center and invited people to write. And people wrote beautiful notes, which were then displayed inside the window of the birth center, which really showed like the transition between the space of where babies would be born and where the community was. And through this, the staff at the birth center were able to share with people in the community about how they could be of service to the community and build relationship and trust with the community. And in this way, the community could also make a contribution to the welcoming environment, both for the new babies that were going to be born, but also for the staff and the work that they were going to do in the communities. Way number 7, Love Notes can be used at work, is a Zen zone for staff. So this is a teacher's lounge in Austin, Texas. This is a school that are, I would say, like high Love Note users. They've done all kinds of cool interactions with students and parents and teachers, but they created a Zen zone for the staff. And in the Zen zone, there's scented lotions, there's comfortable chairs, there's snacks and drinks for teachers to go and staff to go and kind of have a little piece of quiet for themselves. And on the wall, they put in a Love Note display. And again, I think about how that brings us back to our why and gives us that renewal, that sense of the purpose that we have in our work so that we can carry on. Way number 8 that Love Notes can be used at work is to build community. And so these are examples from 826 Valencia, which is a nonprofit serving youth, teaching youth to write. And you can see how we've done this interactive display in their window now for years as part of the new year and going through Valentine's Day. And they're always with a prompt that invites people to come in and to participate. And in this way, it builds this greater community that 826 Valencia has in the Mission District of San Francisco. When they also opened a location in San Francisco's Tenderloin neighborhood, then we spent some time in advance of the building opening to do Love Note installations out on the street and engage with the community in that way to help them to understand what was happening inside this new space, and then to take their notes and to put them into the window. And in this way, you can see people are writing notes about all sorts of things that are happening in the neighborhood around them, particularly in the Tenderloin. People are writing about other nonprofits that they're grateful for or that are of service to them. And in this way, it was able to strengthen that kind of fabric and tie the 826 has to the social good network that is around them. The 9th way Love Notes can be used at work is for accountability and commitment. So at the end of a workshop or a talk, people can be invited to, or an entire event, people can be invited to write a Love Note with their intention of what they're going to accomplish, what's the commitment they're going to make. And then that Love Note can be mailed to them in 30 days or in 60 days. When this is done, it's great to be thinking about this as part of the overall structure for your event, your objectives, what you want to accomplish, and what relationship you want to keep with people after the event is over. And how can that be built into the ask that you have for folks about the accountability and commitment that they're going to make for the change that you sought to make during the event. The 10th way Love Notes can be used at work is an interactive display in public spaces. So these would be areas in which people don't have to have permission to come into. So you already have foot traffic moving through. One of the photos that you saw was in a HIV clinic in Atlanta, Georgia. Another one is in a school community space in Texas. And in this public display of affection that gets set up, people who are passing by are invited to participate, to leave their mark on that space. And then they're also kind of subtly asked to witness then other people's experiences that have flowed through that space. The 11th way love notes can be used at work is to overcome stigma. So in the photos that were shown at the beginning of the video, you see two examples of people writing about HIV. Because that's my work, I have lots of examples of how we've used the love notes in different spaces and events to overcome stigma related to HIV. You also saw a photo of Mondo Biondo in front of a Love Bravery wall that was at Macy's. And at this event, it was in collaboration with Macy's, who's a funder of some of the HIV work that I do. And Love Bravery was about acceptance and overcoming stigma. The love notes were used in the Macy's store for people to write about loving and bravery. I've also seen love notes written about miscarriage and loss and mental illness and mental health and suicide. And what's really powerful about the love notes is when we're able to do it in these public displays with the invitation to either write them anonymously or to include your name, so leaving the choice up to the person. And that the prompt is small and the space is small, it really frees us to write about things that we might not otherwise attach to ourselves. And then when we can see our shared humanity through the public display, this helps us overcome stigma and realize the things that we have in common with each other. The 12th way love notes can be used at work as part of a gala or donor event. So in this space that we talked earlier about using them as thank yous for stakeholders, but this really gives donors an opportunity to write about why they contribute. This can lead to some beautiful imagery that you might be able to use as you share materials with your broader stakeholder group. But it also helps to blur the line between who's donating and who's being served, I think, in a way that I really like. So one example, this was done at the San Francisco General Hospital Foundation Gala event, which is a beautiful evening event at San Francisco Giants Stadium. And then the next day I took the love notes and I put them in the hospital lobby and also put love notes out and invited patients to contribute. And what we saw through that kind of blurring of lines of donor and receiver is that people who were donors had also received services at the hospital and were writing really profound love notes to clinicians who'd saved their life. And then also people in the hospital were able to write back to donors thanking them for their life being saved. And the 13th way, the final way I'll share in this series, is love notes can be used between staff members. So the photo that you saw is actually an example of the Wellbeings team, which is a UK-based home care, social care agency that supports people in living their best lives at home. And they do a lot of work thinking about how their team of care providers will also thrive. And so every new hire, as part of a welcome packet, is given a set of love notes. And there's a really deep practice in the well-being teams of team members appreciating each other and writing love notes and other gratitudes through email and their Slack communication. This also creates space for the team to be able to very easily give each other feedback about more challenging things or difficult topics. But the practice of freely using love notes also opens up that space for there to be some balance of this kind of communication that goes back and forth. And also to really commit to a practice of their teams of being grateful and showing appreciation to each other for the commitment to the work that they do. So that was 13 ways love notes have been used at work. I'm sure there's more. I can't wait to see what you do with them. All the love note templates are available for free now in 6 languages to download from the website. They're also available as giant love notes to use at meetings or for large public displays of affection. please let me know how you use the love notes and what experience you have with them. And if you're wanting to share the story on the website, you can go to the website under Your Love and submit your story and share the story, and I'd be happy to share it on the Love You Too blog. Thank you for being here.